In the world of MMA, where warriors clash for supremacy inside the cage, it's those electrifying moments of unexpected comebacks that truly define the sport. From legendary brawlers to unstoppable champions, these fighters have faced the brink of defeat and then defied all odds to snatch victory from the jaws of adversity. Join us as we unravel the most thrilling and jaw-dropping comebacks in MMA history, where resilience, determination, and the element of surprise take center stage. Number 10. Brock Lesnar vs. Shane Carwin. On July 3, 2010, the formidable fighter Brock Lesnar defended his title for the second time against Shane Carwin at UFC 116. This was quite a showdown, as Carwin had previously become the interim champion by defeating Frank Mir. After taking a year-long break, Brock returned to face an opponent who was just as physically imposing as he was. The initial moments of the fight were all about sizing each other up. Shane Carwin landed some powerful uppercuts on Lesnar's head, and the champion found himself on the canvas. Carwin moved into a position to rain down punishment, but Brock didn't give up. He defended himself well, preventing the referee from stopping the fight, and managed to hold on until the second round. Despite the intense first round and bleeding from his wounds, Lesnar came out for the second round, executed a successful takedown, and moved into side control. In a matter of minutes, Brock spotted an opening in Shane's defense and sealed the deal with an arm triangle choke. Number 9. Christian Lee vs. Kiamrian Abasov. Lee had a fantastic chance to become a two-division champion at 1 on Prime Video 4, and he truly showed the world that he's got the heart of a champion. Fans were in for a real treat right from the start, as the fight kicked off with an intense pace. Abasov took charge early, putting pressure on Lee and landing some heavy shots. Lee attempted to slow things down with a takedown, but Abasov quickly worked his way back to his feet. A little later, he hit Lee with a powerful left that sent him to the canvas. Somehow, Lee managed to gather himself and smartly clinched to fend off Abasov's attacks. He followed it up with a timely takedown, which completely shifted the fight's momentum. As the rounds went on, Lee continued to mix up his striking with takedowns, and it all paid off when he secured a victory in the 4th round with his ground and pound. With this win, Lee not only kept his 1 lightweight world championship belt, but also added the 1 welterweight world championship belt to his collection. Number 8. Fedor Emelianenko vs. Kevin Randleman. This is one of those legendary fights that turned Fedor into the shining star of the Pride era. At the time, Randleman was known as one of the top wrestlers in the division, and he kicked off the match with a strong start. He secured Fedor's back and then delivered what many consider the most spectacular suplex ever witnessed in mixed martial arts. The slam was so powerful that some fans thought the fight was already decided. But in true Fedor style, the last emperor showed his resilience and aimed for an epic comeback. Fedor reversed the position and snatched Randleman's arm via Kimura, making him scream in agony. Nobody can deny that during the 2000s, Fedor was such a force to be reckoned with in the world of MMA. Number 7. Ben Askren vs. Robbie Lawler. Askren's UFC debut was not a walk in the park, as he was matched against the former champion Robbie Lawler, a slugger known for sending the opponents to oblivion. Lawler came out swinging, literally, as he took Askren down and unleashed some ground and pound that left Askren's face battered and bloody. Now, a lot of fighters might have thrown in the towel right there, but Askren wasn't one to back down. He weathered the storm, survived Lawler's furious attacks, and then, in a surprise turn of events, he had Lawler in a bulldog choke shortly after. The fight was stopped a bit early because the referee thought Lawler was out when he actually wasn't. However, Lawler was in a tight spot, and it was only a matter of time before he would have been choked out for real. Number 6. Frankie Edgar vs. Gray Maynard, number 3. These two fighters had quite a history together. Back in April 2008, Frankie experienced his first career loss at the hands of Gray. Then, on January 1st, 2011, they clashed again, but that fight ended in a draw, leaving everyone eagerly anticipating a decisive third bout. The first round of their third meeting had fans on the edge of their seats as Gray came dangerously close to finishing the fight. But, to everyone's amazement, Frankie showed the heart of a lion and survived the onslaught. The second round saw Edgar digging deep and putting up a tough fight, showing immense resilience towards Maynard. With both fighters putting on such a show, it looked like the judges might have another tough decision on their hands if the fight went the distance, as Maynard had dominated the first round, earning an impressive 10-8 score. However, Frankie had different plans. In the fourth round, he launched a missile that sent Gray to the canvas. Seizing the moment, Edgar had no intentions of taking prisoners and finished off his opponent mercilessly. Number 5. Conor McGregor vs. Nate Diaz, number 1. Conor McGregor was riding high when he faced off against Diaz for the first time. Initially, he was set to battle it out with Rafael dos Anjos, but a week before the fight, dos Anjos had to pull out. That's when Nate Diaz stepped in as a last-minute replacement, and that's when the feud between him and McGregor officially kicked off. The fight began pretty much as most fans expected, with Conor showcasing his striking prowess and dominating those exchanges. By the end of the first round, Diaz's face was an absolute mess, looking like a Halloween mask. However, the Stockton favorite son was not ready to compromise. In a surprising turn of events, Diaz caught Conor with a 1-2 punch combo that got the Irishman wobbling. McGregor, clearly dazed, turned into a wrestler and desperately tried to seek refuge on the canvas. Diaz seized the opportunity to take control, ending up in the top position by securing the mount. He then started to pound the nails, forcing McGregor to roll over and expose his back. That's when Nate locked in a rear naked choke, depriving the Irishman of oxygen, which shocked the watchers in disbelief. Number 4. Travis Browne vs. Alistair Overeem. Two powerful heavyweights, Alistair Overeem and Travis Browne, squared off at UFC Fight Night 26 in a fight that promised to deliver fireworks. Right from the get-go, Alistair showed his dominance inside the cage. He took Travis down multiple times, outmuscling him in the clinch and on the mat. The referee had moments where he could have potentially stopped the fight, but he decided to give Travis one last chance to turn things around. And boy, did Browne make the most of it. In the 5th minute of the match, Travis executed a sudden and spectacular front kick that penetrated Overeem's fortress, sending him straight to the Shadow Realm. This defeat marked Alistair Overeem's second consecutive loss, knocking him out of the title race for an extended period. Number 3. Matt Hughes vs. Frank Trigg. The backstory here is intriguing because Hughes had already defended his title against Trigg at UFC 45. But this time around, Trigg was determined to make things right. Before the fight, he kept teasing Matt, claiming he'd easily snatch the belt. Hughes, on the other hand, remained calm and collected. Now, the fight itself had quite a start. In the very first minute, Trigg landed a strike to the demilitarized zone, but the referee, Mario Yamasaki, didn't intervene. Then, Frank began to unleash a barrage of attacks on his opponent. Matt Hughes showed incredible resilience and a tough spirit. He survived a brutal ground and pound assault, and even escaped from a rear naked choke, not once, not twice, but 3 times. But here's where the tables turned. Hughes, the champion, executed a remarkable move. He swept Trigg, literally picked him up, and gave him a free ride with Hughes Airlines around the cage before slamming him to the ground. Hughes managed to regain control, locked in a rear naked choke, and secured a victory by squeezing the life out of the opponent. The fight became a classic in the eyes of UFC president Dana White, who often said it was his personal favorite. Number 2. Sheik Congo vs. Pat Barry. The matchup between these two fighters was expected to be a thrilling kickboxing contest, given their impressive backgrounds. However, it turned into one of the most epic comebacks in MMA history. At the start of the fight, both men were cautious, feeling each other out. Barry seemed to have the upper hand in the exchanges, and they engaged in a trade of leg kicks for the opening minutes. Then, Barry backed Congo against the cage and unleashed a torpedo that dropped the opposition. Congo was left stumbling and wobbling all over the cage, with Barry following up with more strikes. Just when it appeared that Congo might be getting back on his feet, Barry knocked him down with another bomb. Now, many referees would have stopped the fight at this point, but Dan Miragliotta made the call to let the action continue. As it turned out, that was the right decision because Congo, against all odds, managed to regain his footing and came back with a vengeance. He returned with fire and knocked Barry out cold, sealing a comeback that will be remembered forever. Number 1. Anderson Silva vs. Chael Sonnen. Anderson Silva was at the peak of his reign when he stepped into the cage to face Chael Sonnen. He had been so dominant that fans were expecting yet another incredible finish from him. But Sonnen's aggressive trash talk in the lead-up to the fight had fueled a desire among fans to see him humbled. He bombarded Silva with insults and even made some unsavory comments about Brazilians and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, making him one of the most disliked figures in MMA at the time. Fans were hoping for a highlight reel moment, but things took an unexpected turn. Sonnen's bite was as fierce as his bark. From the opening moments, he went after Silva with relentless aggression. He landed a powerful overhand early in the fight, keeping Silva on his back for much of the round while delivering a barrage of ground strikes. The second, third, and fourth rounds seemed like deja vu, with Sonnen keeping up the pressure. It slowly started to sink in for fans that Silva's championship reign might be coming to an end. To make matters worse, Sonnen took Silva down early in the fifth round and maintained control for a while. Just when it felt like all hope was lost, Silva secured a triangle choke and combined it with an armbar. Sonnen had no choice but to tap out, bringing a sudden end to his dominant performance against a man who many fans considered the best fighter in MMA history. It was a fight that kept fans on the edge of their seats and had a finish no one saw coming. Thanks for tuning in to today's video about the greatest MMA comebacks. If you enjoyed watching and want more content like this, why not show some love with a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button?